Call this meeting to order. This meeting has been properly advertised and posted in accordance with Public Law 75, Chapter 231. Will you please rise for the flag salute?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any standing for a moment of silence. And if we could also keep in our prayers a very long time member of our community, I believe, who's actually was born here in Estell Manor, Mr. Nicolosi, who has just passed away recently. Amen. Roll call, please.
Councilman Barbetta.
Here.
Councilman Buchanan.
Present.
Councilwoman Givens.
Here.
Councilman Hughes.
Here.
Mayor Venezia.
Present. Can I have a motion to open the meeting to the public?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Meeting is open to the public. Anybody with any comments? Now's the time to fire away. Ms. Lisa?
Yes, Lisa Perillo, 171 Fifth Avenue. I just want to make the announcement that the community group Better Together that was recently formed will be having a meeting on Tuesday night, May 22nd, over at the Risley School. That's Tuesday night, May 22nd at 6:30 at the Risley School. Also, just a question, the minutes that have been approved from closed session, are they available anywhere? Or are anything that's recent is available?
That's subject to the solicitor to approve his, I guess we're going to go over them and see what's releasable and what's not.
When you're talking about closed session minutes, there's two components to it. One is whether or not council has approved them. And that's the first step. The second step is whether or not the content or particular issues are still the subject matter of the exceptions which would have put them in the closed session in the first place. By way of example, if we're in the middle of a large piece of litigation, that can go into executive session to be discussed. Those minutes may be approved, but if the litigation is still ongoing for a period of months, they will not be released until that litigation is concluded. So it's two prongs. One is it needs to be approved, and the other is the underlying subject matter of a particular point needs to be resolved.
Right, but those that are released, how do you find out if they are released and where would you find them at?
I'm not sure of that question.
So in other words, if I wanted to read minutes from the closed session that have already been approved and released, where would I go to find
I
them?
would assume that the simplest thing for you to do would be to file an Oprah request with the city clerk, requesting copies of that. And the process I just described, when you file that Oprah request, will be tossed by the clerk over to us to make sure we're okay. It'll go back to her if everything's okay, then you'll get the copy.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Anything else from the public? Agreed?
Actually, just as a clarification on that, so that's not a separate council vote, that's simply the solicitor's determination?
Depending upon the community, it is done both ways. There are times when after you have an approved set of closed session minutes, but it's ongoing, they will not be released. When you get to the conclusion, in some communities, they then take it back to council again and say, we have now concluded at a staff level, you say, we have now concluded this, are you prepared to release them? And the vote would be taken there. So it can go either way. We do have some communities where they are kicking it to us, and we're going through it, making sure it's clear with the clerk, if necessary, redacting, otherwise releasing.
So my question then would become, so following up on the previous question, the practice then currently, as we understand it here, is to do?
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, we.
I was wondering about-
It is not something that we have really articulated here in this community. If I had my preference, I would take 2 council votes, one to approve,
Okay.
and then when we get to a point where it appears that the matter is resolved, back to council, and at that point, have council authorize the release. You know, again, I've given you an example where we have been jammed a little bit by others, and we find a way to make it work so that the public gets to where they've got to get. But I would prefer 2 steps at the council level, and as we go forward, Mayor, members of council, you might want to proceed in that way. It would probably be the best way for the council and mayor to go.
I actually like what you just said. That sounds like a winner. Great.
Second question. I see nomination for risk management consultant is on the agenda, so would that mean that the action that was taken at the last meeting, as it turned out, was not necessarily as much of an emergency as we had feared at the time? So therefore, that action would be inoperative at the moment? Is that a fair characterization? I'm not trying to put anybody on the spot, just trying to get an idea of, since we're not gonna be able to talk until this is now done. I'm just trying to get an idea on where we stand right now. Thank you.
Anyone else in the public?
There's no answer on that?
Fred's gonna give you an answer on that. I guess he didn't.
But do I need to ask it a different way, or?
No, what's the question? Just give me a straight question.
As of today, who's the risk management consultant?
Nobody.
Okay, that's fine.
There's no one today. It's going to be, when this agenda item comes up, it will be discussed. There's information that I have received that I'll make available to council and the public.
Okay, and the final one is this upgrade to peddler ordinance on new business?
Yeah, I actually spoke to Fred, and there have been a series of some, I would call gypsies going door to door, trying to offer services with regards to whether it would be driveways, whether it's roofing, whatever the matter may be. And they just don't, they should not be doing that. And we want to just simply strengthen our ordinance that we have so that they can't do that. Anybody who's a contractor, including myself, which I do have a contractor's registration certificate number, which means that you're insured and bonded for up to $2 million. That's what the state law is. That's not Joe's law or anybody's law. That's the state laws. So we all have to abide by that, and that is the reason why we need to strengthen our ordinance, because we can't have people knocking on doors and we don't know who they are or what they're up to, but nonetheless, people should be aware that they can't be doing this, period.
I would just ask that we be careful of, and certainly, Mr. Mayor, I would say that I would understand and agree with that purpose. I just would be ask that we be cautious of in any way infringing on First Amendment political communication or other types of civic or governmental communication. Sometimes in other communities, I am not saying that's been anyone's intention here, but from time to time in other towns, these types of things wind up becoming the, oh, well, you're not supposed to contact anyone.
If I may stop you, I'm not a lawyer, he's the lawyer, he's the one that's gonna do this, the ordinance, I'm not writing no ordinance. And I'm sure that Fred has been doing this for a very, very long time, to the point where he knows what a First Amendment right is, Second Amendment, and all the other amendments that go along with any kind of an ordinance that we do. Fred's gonna make sure that the ordinance is done properly, and then council will adopt if we see fit to.
And I'm sure that with your years of experience, you are well aware that those issues have been the frequent subject of litigation with various communities, and I would think, and again, obviously, I'm well aware of Fred's competency on these issues, and I figure that he would, left to his own devices, steer clear of them. I'm just trying to make sure that there's no other directives, because after all, whomever is the solicitor has to act on what are the lawful instructions given by counsel, whether he feels they are ill-advised or the smartest thing ever. So I'm just asking that up front again, because we won't be able to have any dialogue on it later. So if those are the intentions, that's fine. I just want to make sure that got said earlier.
Thank you. Anybody else from the audience?
And the soccer net purchase is committee thing, or that's done? Because I thought that was done. We're talking about it some more? Okay. All right, thank you.
Anyone else in the public? Need a motion to close the public?
I should have said soccer committee.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Moving down, we have the engineer's report. Michael?
Okay, you
We have the signed documents.
Let's start with the closeout documents. With additional information required on the soccer field that the contractor got over to the Improvement Authority, just waiting for the final sign off on that project. 2018, still waiting. Summary from the Improvement Authority regarding the application for the ADA improvements, the walking path, and the lighting. As soon as I hear something from the county, I'll advise council on that. Walker Sports Road, we received the final signed documents from the city, and the closeout packet was sent to the state for review. Kentucky Avenue, last Wednesday, we had the bid opening for the reconstruction of Kentucky Avenue. The low bid was Jerry and Son Excavating, $104,870. We had 4 bid package. They range from the low bid, $104,870, all the way up to $140,000. So the prices were kind of all over the board. I sent the bid package, a copy over to Fred's office, so subject to his review and approval, I recommend the award to Jerry and Son for the amount of $104,870.
Now, are we picking him just because he's the cheapest? Like, does he have a good track record? Has he done work for us before?
Yeah, he's done several
He's done?
roads.
Okay.
Yes.
Alright.
Father and son operations, kind of local and.
Oh, no, that's cool. I'm looking at the other contractors and I just wanted to make sure we didn't pick the cheapest guy because he's cheap. Because usually you get what you pay for.
There's public contract laws that require
He means certain, okay.
for
I'm just making
the low
sure.
bid to be accepted, subject to his bid package being in compliance with all the state statutes and necessary forms.
That's perfect, that's cool. I just want to make sure we've used him before and he's not.
Oh, yeah, he's local.
Okay.
He lives in
He's landing.
the city as well.
Okay.
Michael, what about the second phase of Walker's Ford?
Once the state approves the closeout, then we can proceed with the second phase of the Walker's Ford.
Want to know how much money we have left over?
We have that total, they just need to sign off on that first phase, and then we'll start the second phase.
Okay.
And then lastly, Honest John Road, we completed the field work, and we completed the existing condition plan in the process of working on the design plans. Probably have those wrapped up in the next few weeks, and probably look like a late summer, early fall project. So get that done for the winter this year. And then Pacific Avenue. At last month's meeting, there was discussion regarding the installation of millings on the dirt road. At the direction of council, I reached out to the Pinelands, explained the situation, spoke to a representative. They basically said there's 2 options the city can do moving forward. If they choose to leave the millings in place, it would have to be paved or approved by the DEP for the placing of those millings. Along with that, it would require an application to the Pinelands for approval, and any and all impacts regarding the increased runoff would have to be addressed for those improvements. The second option is for the millings to be removed, taken off site. Those areas of the road could be improved and repaired with dense graded aggregate. It's a crushed concrete mix. No further action or approval would be necessary from the Pinelands, and since it's a violation, there's no application or action needed. So if you want to address this as soon as possible without having to get approval from the Pinelands, I would recommend the removal of the millings, and then if you'd like to improve it further, install DGA, bring it back to grade, and you'd be in compliance with the Pinelands.
Is it just crushed concrete or like just a DGA dirt mix?
It's a state mix. If you go to a yard, contractor's yard, say you want NJDOT, DGA, we'll know the,
It's not like just putting down crushed stone on a road.
yeah, you could do crushed stone, that's a little more expensive.
Yeah.
This is a cheaper option that would improve the integrity of the road and give it a little more stability.
Good. That's good.
And, I did happen to talk to somebody from, DOT, the Conference of Mayors, last week or the week before. And I seem to have gotten a rather very favorable comment with regards to our discretionary, application that we have for the, 12th Avenue project. So they don't have a whole lot of discretionary applications as of now, so we may actually be in the forefront to make this work.
Okay.
So I'll keep my fingers crossed and be a little bit more vigilant on it as well.
That's everything I have in my report. If there's any questions?
With Pacific Avenue then, we are gonna remove the millings,
That is the engineer's recommendation.
well, and we are gonna,
Well, we aren't gonna do it.
that's what I'm asking.
Whoever put it there should take it up.
Oh, that's what I'm asking. Whether if we were going to be, we are not going to remove them, you're saying.
My recommendation would be this, I think that we should have a letter either from the engineer or from the solicitor indicating, the ramifications of what has been done, and therefore that, they have a certain amount of time to remove it, or it's going to be improved, which I don't think first off, we don't have that in the budget. Secondly, that's not a primary road that people are using on back and forth, such as all the other streets that we've done over the years. So I would make the recommendation that either the solicitor or the engineer or both
Well,
would draft a letter to the,
no different than Linwood Avenue,
excuse me?
no different than Linwood Avenue. Not many people use that, and we did that.
We haven't done any improvements on that road.
No,
Other than,
we put a lot of money putting the DGA down there.
So we're putting the DGA down, the homeowner's removing the millings and we're putting the DGA down, right?
that's what we choose to do, yeah. I mean, I already quite honestly have something later on towards the end of the meeting on the new business, but there's a couple of roads that in fact need to be regraded professionally.
Right.
And we should put that out to either bid or get 3 different quotes depending upon what the price is gonna be. And we can discuss,
Incorporating this road in with that. Okay.
we can discuss that. But I think that these roads that need to be professionally ground, one in particular is the 5th Avenue project. It goes all the way down the end into the woods. And that was ground properly, that wouldn't be rotten out the way it's been. It's like Washboard Road. And it's just never, we're not professionals in doing this, therefore we'll hire somebody and we'll take care of it for us on a professional basis. And if it's ground properly, it won't be
an issue.
full of ruts or Washboard Alley anymore.
The last time we did this, we put out, we got 3 quotes, and I think, what's his name? Perringham. Came back with the best quote, and that's why we used them the last time, so we could probably, we'll do the same thing again. We'll probably work out these.
What I would recommend, Larry, is as you have a couple minutes if we're discussing some other issues or whatever, you can go on your computer or whatever, do you happen to remember what the price was?
I don't recall off the top of my head what the price was, but it was the cheapest price we could get out of 3 different
Because
quotes.
where I'm headed is this, I think you're right, it was cheap, it doesn't fall under the, public bid contract law. Where there's a sealed bids and all that, I think, you have to say, what is it, November 12,000?
It's higher than that.
It's higher than that now, it's like
36 or something.
Well, I don't remember.
It was well under that.
40,000.
It's up to
threshold.
40
We
now.
didn't have to go through that.
They're already selling you 40,000.
40,000.
Is a bid, needs to be bid.
That needs to be bid. And then 40 and under is just simply 3 quotes.
Correct.
Okay.
My memory served me, I'm gonna say it was less than $1,500.
Do one road.
No. It was less than $1,500, and we did, now this was the vibratory roller, is what we did. We graded, and they come back and they compacted
That was
5th
also,
Avenue, 6th Avenue, portion of Honest John.
Was that also the installation of VGA material? I think it was.
It was not.
It was not.
It was not the installation of DGA material. This is just for the equipment and the operator, to compact the road surface. And I think we did 4 or 5 streets. And I believe it was around $1,500, and they did them all within 6 hours in one day.
I recall that the figure was right around 15.
Somewhere around there. Don't hold me to the exact number, but it was very reasonable.
You and I will talk about this tomorrow and the following day, and what we'll just simply do is, we'll discuss some quotes and, contacting the contractors, okay? Mike, anything else?
Excuse me, Mayor Venezia, if I may, on the agenda, I listed the South Jersey Gas street opening permit, Mike.
Oh,
I
yes.
need them to give me a motion to issue that.
Sure,
You
just
can
to
address that.
update you. South Jersey Gas submitted a road opening permit by their station between Route 50 and Walker's Forge Road. They initially submitted an application, they wanted to notch a portion of the new road that was paved. I sent a letter requesting that action be reviewed and look to do tie-ins within the grassed area. They sent revised plans, complied, and I sent an approval letter, and a copy to the city, and made that subject to them contacting Public Works and our office 48 hours prior to.
So they need to make a notch, or they're gonna do the entire shoulderway area to,
No, they're doing I think it's a 4x6.
4x12
4
and
by-
a 4x4 opening within the grass shoulder areas.
Right, it's in the grass shoulder now.
so we can give them that approval, just subject to, that they have to leave the shoulder of the road the way that they found it, once they have their installation.
That's in the letter, it's subject to restoring and being reviewed by our inspector and also notifying Public Works 48 hours prior to them starting work.
Who's our inspector, you?
Yes, our inspector.
Okay, so are they subject also to, paying you for the inspection?
I don't know the arrangement in the city, but typically in Weymouth they are.
I would like to, make that approval with the caveat that, South Jersey Gas is to pay our engineer for any services that he has to perform. It's their work, not ours. So, I make the motion to approve, subject to the, engineer to be paid by the applicant, who is, South Jersey Gas. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Barbetto?
Yes.
Mr. Buchanan?
Yes.
Ms. Givens?
Yes.
Mr. Hughes?
Yes.
Mayor Venezia?
Yes. That's fine. Yep.
Are you sure?
I think so.
Okay. For some reason, you're sitting there looking like you want to say something else, you don't want to leave us.
No, I don't have anything, I think we covered it all.
Very good.
How far are we into the Honest John Road project?
Just the existing conditions have been drafted and in the process of starting the design.
I believe there's 7 houses on that street there, 5 houses, 3 of them specifically called me. 2 of them I happened to run into people when I was out shopping or whatever, and they're not in favor of that road being resurfaced. They're afraid that it's gonna be a drag strip or whatever the case may be. The guy that lives all the way down the end was like rather very vocal, he was really, not wanting it to happen.
Hey, Honest John, coming off the 50.
Yeah,
Why would that be a drag strip? It's a dead end road.
well, he's just afraid that, you know, the road, and by the way, it was also commented, I agreed, even with, when the application was made, that there's not even a crack in the road, there was no potholes, there was nothing. That was probably not the right road, we should have done at the time, but we're now committed into it, and we can't cancel it, correct? We have to go with the, we have to follow through, otherwise we just lose the grant in its entirety.
Unless you want to return the funds.
No. Plus, we've already got money invested in your services so far on that street.
Thank you.
One final question I do have, with regards to discretionary applications. I'm not sure how this works, but can you make another one immediately right afterwards, or is there a time frame as to how many times you can make an application?
I believe you can make as many as you like. I mean, for example, when you apply for the program each year, you can submit as many roads. I think they allow up to 3 roads. So when we applied for Kentucky, that year you could have applied for a secondary road, a primary and a secondary. So I don't see why not. If you wanted to apply for a second discretionary project, you certainly could.
Should we wait to get the approval for this one first?
I don't know if it makes a difference. If you wanted to put it in the queue. You don't know how many other municipalities are going to submit for roads. Some may not, and you might have a better chance.
If we were to go along those lines there, guys, we've already got 12th Avenue project put in. I would make a recommendation that possibly the next street would be South Jersey Avenue by the railway tracks.
And we're talking South Jersey
For discretionary road project.
Okay, from where to where?
I would say to you probably from Cumberland Avenue
To the end.
to the end. It doesn't go too much further past the end, but, South Jersey Avenue then goes over into Wayne Township, which I'm not gonna do that, and we have
Right.
there is no roadway there at that point.
So it's from, basically from, Ninth to Cumberland? South Jersey.
There is another portion that's over there by Ninth. I think that's South Jersey Avenue, but I'm not that positive, but it is, yes. It is, and that would be,
Mary Faithless, that's South Jersey.
Yeah.
That's further than Ninth.
But maybe we could do the same thing as we did Walker's Ford Road. We could do South Jersey from Cumberland to Fifth or wherever it goes. And any money we have left over, we can do the other South Jersey, because that's only about a block.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not bad.
Not a regular block, not a Estell Manor block.
like you're saying, that we're gonna apply for South Jersey Avenue. We'll apply for the total lineal footage of what we're gonna be doing, and then,
I do the whole thing.
Oh, we didn't do that, even though it's not connected. That's like, okay.
Sounds good.
wait, you free to go?
Would you like me to prepare that application for South Jersey Avenue?
Council, what's your feelings?
I think that's a good idea.
For discretionary.
A better opportunity to do that and get acceptance on it, we put it in. If we don't, we're not gonna see it.
Okay, I will make the motion then to,
That really has to be done by resolution. I learned this just doing 12th and Beach, that it needs a resolution for that. So if we can make that resolution 55, 2018, we approve the submit the grant application.
if the boss approves that, yes.
It's gonna, just like this one, but it can say South Jersey Avenue.
That's all fine. You use that form?
If not, then you'll have to do the resolution at the next
Back to
one.
the next meeting.
Yes.
Gotta use that form of resolution with the number referenced, that's what this is
I
about.
make a
Correct.
motion to support resolution 55-2018 with regards to filing for a discretionary application for South Jersey Avenue, that being the entire roadway in Estell Manor.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Barbetto?
Yes.